Good Friday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I am Chris Harapsky. Right now, Jordan Collins is back in an Anoka County courtroom accused of his son's murder. This comes nearly a year after his 16-year-old son, Manny Collins, went missing and was found dead in a landfill near Elk River at the end of June. Jordan Collins' public defender has spent the past week and a half filing motions ahead of today's hearing. Collins' attorney is pushing to suppress evidence found during a search of Collins' apartment on University Avenue. That's where 16-year-old Manny was last seen back in early May. The attorney argued the search lacked probable cause. The public defender also took issue with evidence gathered from Collins' online accounts. Now, in November, Collins' attorney also asked to move the trial from Anoka, arguing that media coverage made a fair trial impossible. Right now, former President Bill Clinton is answering questions from congressional committee as part of the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. The historic deposition comes just one day after his wife and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton testified yesterday. NBC's chief Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles has the latest.
It could be a long day in this building here behind me for former President Bill Clinton. He is set to sit for a lengthy on-the-record deposition with the House Oversight Committee, where they will ask him questions about his relationship with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Bill Clinton's name and picture have popped up hundreds of times in the files. But despite that, he has said repeatedly that he was not aware of any of Epstein's criminal wrongdoing and was certainly not involved in it. Now, the former president's testimony comes the day after his wife sat for almost 6 hours in front of this same committee, also asking questions, or answering questions, I should say, about the Epstein affair. Hillary Clinton told the committee over and over again that she had no relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and was only casually acquainted with his co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. But one interesting thing that did come out of Hillary Clinton's deposition was that there were many questions she was asked that she told the committee that they would have to ask her husband, and the committee is prepared to do so. This deposition is expected to be released, the video and the transcript, in its entirety in the very near future. And it is just the latest in a long line of depositions that the Oversight Committee has conducted. And Democrats say that this deposition today of the former president sets the stage for the current president, Donald Trump, to be called in and ask questions about the same situation.
Thank you, Ryan. Right now, a hearing is taking place in U.S. federal courthouse after more arrests have been made in connection with the St. Paul church protests against ICE. Attorney and activist Nakima Levy-Armstrong posted on her social media today that at least 9 more people were arrested earlier this morning. These arrests stem from the protests last month when several people entered a St. Paul church during a Sunday service, saying the church's pastor is also an ICE field director. The authorities had previously made several high-profile arrests in this case, including journalists Georgia Fort and Don Lemon, who were released soon after their arrests. Meanwhile, this morning, we're getting a closer look at how many federal agents are still in the Twin Cities after the end of Operation Metro Surge. Court documents show about 400 ICE agents will remain in the St. Paul field office, possibly through March. It's down significantly from the roughly 3,000 agents stationed here at the height of Operation Metro Surge. Before that, about 150 agents were based in Minnesota. Separate court filings also show Customs and Border Patrol personnel assigned to the operation were fully demobilized as of Monday. Right now, ICE officers go through 42 days of training. That's less than half the training required during the Biden administration. ICE says no essential content is left out. Special agents in other areas, though, go through much longer trainings. This afternoon, a 4-year-old in Plymouth is safe thanks to 2 ICE officers and police. Plymouth police tell us a child jumped into the Ramada Hotel pool to get a toy and was underwater for more than 5 minutes. This happened last Friday. Officers say 2 off-duty ICE agents responded after a witness yelled for help in a restaurant that was attached to the hotel. The boy was showing no signs of life, they say, so they gave him CPR. Plymouth police took over, and after 10 minutes of CPR, the boy started to breathe on his own and was taken to a hospital. Can you imagine? Police sent a letter to Homeland Security thanking those ICE officers for their quick help. This afternoon, we're learning new details about a deadly crash near Mille Lacs Lake. 4 people were killed on Highway 169 when 2 cars collided head-on just south of Grand Casino, Mille Lacs, about 7 p.m. Wednesday. Joe McCoy spoke with the sister of one of the victims.
These marks on the road and pieces of wreckage on Highway 169 near Mille Lacs Lake illustrate just how quickly so many lives can be changed forever.
My understanding was that it was instant. They were killed instantly.
Snooks Boswell fighting back tears as she remembers her older brother Chris and their 2 friends, James Ortley and Michelle Rock, who were killed Wednesday night in a head-on collision.
I was just with them yesterday before all this happened. And they were just happy and laughing at my jokes.
Snooks says her brother lived life to the fullest and was outgoing and funny.
He was a caring person, loving and kind.
He loved the outdoors and sports, but family always came first.
He has 3 wonderful kids he left behind. He loves his kids very much. That's his world.
One was in the ditch and one was right there where the red marks are.
Amy Christie was a few cars behind when the crash happened.
A girl in the back started moving and moaning, so I went to her right away. And just sat with her, held her hand, told her it was going to be okay.
Chris's girlfriend, Jessica Mitchell, was the sole survivor. State Patrol says she's facing life-threatening injuries. According to State Patrol, 21-year-old Samantha Ajax crossed the center line when she crashed into the 4. Ajax was also killed.
It's a lot to see and process.
4 lives lost too early, and countless others now forever changed.
Things happen for a reason, but why did he have to take them away from me?
Joe McCoy reporting. On Tuesday, authorities say another person died on that same stretch of road after losing control because of icy conditions. Today marks 6 months since the deadly mass shooting at Annunciation Catholic Church, killing 2 students, Harper Moisky and Fletcher Merkel. Governor Walz posted this photo of their desks sitting inside the state capitol. Earlier this week, parents at the school lined the Capitol lawn with empty desks representing the Minnesota children who've lost their lives to gun violence in the last 5 years. New this afternoon, Scouting America is expected to alter its policies at the urging of the Pentagon. Some of the changes including discontinuing a Citizenship in Society merit badge while adding a military service merit badge. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is pushing against the organization's name change from Boy Scouts, but Scouting America says it will keep its new name and continue to include hundreds of thousands of girls. The calls for change come as Hegseth pushes a campaign against military support for diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. New today, the U.S. ambassador to Israel urging its staff who wish to leave to do so quickly amid intensifying situation in Iran. In an email to the embassy's staff, Mike Huckabee wrote that these are cautionary measures and that there is no need to panic. But he urged his staff to leave today while commercial flights are still available, as the country expects high demand in flights out of Israel. The message comes ahead of a possible U.S. strike on Iran after no breakthrough was achieved during the latest talks between the U.S. and Iran over its nuclear program. This afternoon, Pakistan says it's in open war with Afghanistan. It marks a sharp escalation in violence after both countries traded military strikes. Officials on each side saying they caused heavy damage. Tensions have been simmering between the 2 nations for months after a ceasefire deal in October. The latest actions have caused panic among people in the areas, especially as terrorist groups try to remobilize. Nearly a month after Nancy Guthrie went missing, authorities say they are going through thousands of hours of video footage from the area around her house. NBC's Liz Kreutz has the latest from Tucson, Arizona.
Well, hey there. Right now, investigators are continuing to go through all of the evidence in this case now as we approach 1 month since Nancy Guthrie went missing. The sheriff has now acknowledged this new neighborhood ring camera that's just emerged. This was video obtained by Fox News Digital, and it shows a car driving down a road minutes after Nancy Guthrie's abduction. This was taken about 2.5 miles from Nancy's home, and it was taken outside of that 2-mile perimeter where investigators were really focused on getting video footage from neighbors trying to understand or get any clues of where maybe this suspect could have been in those moments before and after her abduction. It's unclear if this new video will be useful to investigators, but the sheriff does tell me that it is part now of the investigation. And meanwhile, we are learning more about the staffing of this case. There are scores of agents still working this case, and many of them are still boots on the ground here in Tucson. But a senior law enforcement official tells NBC News that they are also now centering many of those agents. Instead of in Tucson, they're doing so out of the FBI field office in Phoenix. They say that this is not in any way because they are giving up on this case. They say it is simply because this is where their investigators in this next phase of this investigation can hunker down, analyze all the intel, go over all the evidence, including the thousands of hours of video footage, some 5,000 to 10,000 hours of footage they've amassed. An FBI official says that they have to watch every single piece of that video in real time. Back to you.
New today, FedEx is saying it's going to return any tariff refund it might get back to consumers and shippers who paid them. This comes after the company announced it is suing to get back the money paid to the government during President Trump's now overturned tariff policy. More than 1,000 companies have filed lawsuits since the courts ruled that Trump's tariffs were illegal. It's unclear how much FedEx might have paid in tariffs, but in total, more than $133 billion was collected from importers during that policy. Stick with us, more news and weather coming up after the break.